Good morning, first graders. I am going to read you a story today. It's one of my favorite stories about a little girl who loves her name. And I know that each one of you has a very special name to share too. So this story is called Chrysanthemum. And I'm going to be reading it to you from my computer screen because I don't have a hard copy of the book at my house, but I have it in my classroom, and I thought of it to share with you. So after I read this story to you today, we're going to be doing a special name activity on SeeSaw, and I will show you what that will look like. And I'll also be using my whiteboard back here to write my name and do something fun with you. I hope you enjoy the story. You're not going to see my face for now because I'm going to share my screen and read you this book that is on Epic, from Epic. Okay, so here we go. Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum by Kevin Henkes. And here it is. It tells us a little bit about the story. She loved her name, but then she started school and something not so nice happened. Let's find out. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. Oh, I'm sorry about that. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called for her dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect, and then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school! But when Mrs. Chudd took roll call, which means attendance, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. Now here are all of the kids in her class and the teacher. So let's read some of those names. Dawn, Eve, Lois, Al, Les, Kay, Max, Sue, Bill, Pat, Tom, Sam, Q, Joe, Silta, Victoria, and finally Chrysanthemum. Boy, all of those other names, they seemed a lot shorter than Chrysanthemum's, huh? Do you think it was very nice that they giggled about her name? It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She wilted like a flower. Flowers wilt when they are sad because they don't have enough sun and they may not be surviving, so they kind of droop down like this and they wilt. Can you wilt like a flower? Oh, it's not a very good feeling to wilt, is it? She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. So she wasn't feeling very good, was she? Can you tell from the picture? Look at her face. Poor Chrysanthemum. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School's no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, psh, said her mother. Your name is beautiful and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup. Oh boy, do any of you like that? And an evening filled with hugs and kisses and the game Parcheesi. That night Chrysanthemum dreamed her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria, as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. Can you wilt again? Oh. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had a flower for a name, I would think that would be beautiful, wouldn't you? And I would never tease someone about it. That's not very kind, is it? The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School's no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous, and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Boy, those are some juicy words, boys and girls. What do you think those words mean? Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better, means a little bit better, after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and Parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy, Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. Here's another time we can wilt with her. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum, was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria, and she's named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are? said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. You think she feels so much better now? So all those names that those kids thought of were all flower names. And that's the end. So overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought that was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of the flowers. What do you think about that, boys and girls? Do you think she deserved that? Oh, well, I bet she learned a lesson, don't you think? And eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen share so I can see you again. There you are. And on my whiteboard back here, I'm going to write my name so you can see it. My name is Mrs. Perlman. And I know I don't have a flower name, but I know that my name is pretty important and special to me too. And I know that your name is special for who you are too. We're going to do an activity today in SeeSaw around your name. You're going to do what I just did, and you're going to write your name down on a piece of paper and have that with you so that you can refer to it for your activity. Now in this activity, I'm going to use my last name that starts with a P. Do you notice something about that P? It's capital, that's right. And we're going to just count the letters in our name to start with. So how many letters in my name? Perlman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 letters in my name. And that's something you'll have to do too, is count your letters in your name. And remember that because you'll use it in your SeeSaw activity. Now I want to show you a quick little bonus. There's some friends in my class who love to challenge their brain. If you would like to challenge your brain too, here's a challenge for you. With the name on your piece of paper, your name, find a different color and circle any letter in your name that is a vowel. I want to see if you know your vowels. So I'm going to find the vowels in my name. Here's one, an E and an A. I have 2 vowels in my name, so I'm going to write the number 2 vowels. That's just an added bonus. If you want to challenge your brain, go ahead and do that. In the SeeSaw activity, you're going to be doing some things around your name, writing it, typing it, making letters, dragging letters to make your name, and there are videos for you to listen to follow those directions, okay? I know each one of you is very special, and I can't wait to hear about your name and why you're named that. Have fun, boys and girls. See you soon.